So good afternoon. First year Bcom computer applications, first Bcom computer applications, second semester. First year Bcom computer applications semester 2. Similarly, first year BA computer applications semester 1, that is programming in C. So we discuss all the important points about C programs. So this PPT or this slide about explains about all the basic concepts of programming in C or C programming. So we start with this PPT. So introduction to C. So hash include stdio.h int main braces printf, like that. So in this slide there are many things to are discussed here. First one is hash include. Hash include is a preprocessor. Hash include is a preprocessor, and stdio.h stdio.h is a standard input output header file. So there are many header files are used. stdio.h, main.h, math.h, string.h, char ctype.h, like that. Hash include is a preprocessor. And main, what is the main? Main is a compulsory function, one and only function in the C program, and every program have only one main function only, and every C program begins with a C begins with the main only. So printf, scanf and printf are input output functions. Scanf and printf are input output functions, and C is a case sensitive language. Case sensitive language means we should write all C programs or code in lower case letters only, or upper small letters only, right? And what is a C? C is a middle level language. C is a middle level language used by developed by Ritchie and Dennis. So in this PPT we may explain various things about program basics, program skeleton means structure, preprocessors, global declarations, functions, comments and documentations, and names means identifiers, means variables, reserve words means keywords or reserve words, and program basics means variables, memory allocation, different types of memories, data types, constants, different types of constants, literals, similarly formatted input output functions, various input output functions, formatted input output functions, files, printf, scanf, and all these things. So what is this C program? C is developed by there are many versions of C, like ANSI C, Turbo C, like that. So this is the structure of a C program. This is called as the structure of a C program. What is the structure of a C program? Means every C program begins with some preprocessor directives. Second step is global variable declarations. Third step is function declarations or definitions. Next is main function. Next is local declarations or local variable declarations. Next is statements. Next is return statements, like that. So this is the structure of a C program. What is it? First one is preprocessors or directives. Second one is global variable declarations. Third one is function definitions. Next one is main. Next one is local variable declarations. Next one is statements used. So structure of a C program. So this is the structure of a C program. Every C program starts with preprocessor directives, that is hash include. Next is global declarations or global variable declaration. Next is function declarations, function definitions. Next is main and local variable definitions and statements. So every program have global variables and local variables. Local variables are available to the main function only or that function only. Global variables are available for all entire program including functions. May contain every program may contain various preprocessor directives like hash include, hash define, like that. Always has one function. Every C program must have one main function. It is called as main. So what are the different parts of a C program? A preprocessor directive, it is used to define header files. Next one is global declaration. Next one is local variable declarations, and next one is main. Next one is statements. So preprocessor directives begins with hash. Begin with hash. Instruct compiler to perform some transformation to file before compiling. And example is hash include stdio.h. Add the header file stdio.h to this file. .h for header files. stdio.h defines the useful input output. So what is preprocessor? Every preprocessor begins with hash. Example is hash include stdio.h. stdio.h means standard input output header file. It is mainly used to define all the basic standard input output functions. It is a header file and every header file have .h extension. There are many types of header files like stdio.h, math.h, conio.h, string.h, character ctype.h, like that. So stdio.h defines all the used to define all the input output functions in C program. For declarations, variables are two types: global variables and local variables. Global variables visible throughout the program, whereas and describes data throughout the program, whereas local variables are visible within the function only, visible or access within the function only, and describes data used only in functions. Describes data used only in functions. Next is functions. So what is a function? C programs contains many functions including main. What is a main? Main is the main function of a C program, which is used to include all the necessary fundamental functions in it. And every C program have many types of other functions, and consists of header and body. Consists of headers and bodies. Header means int main, body means contained between two braces, starts with location. So more than one function may be defined. Functions are called invoked more later. So main function. So what are the main function? What is the main function? Main function, every C program has one function, compulsory function. It is called as main. Main is the header for main, that is int main. Program in the sequence of statements between braces following main, and statements are executed one at a time from the immediately following to main. Next is comments. So what are comments? So comments. So what are comments? Text between slash star and hash star slash, used to document the code for the human reader, ignored by the compiler. Have to be careful. So this is the example program, simple example program using some comments. Comments are written in slash star within the or in between the slash star and the star slash symbol. So documentation. So syntax of C. So what is the syntax rules, what are the syntax rules and how the C programs are written in. So rules that define C language specify which tokens are valid, also indicate the expected order of tokens. Some type of tokens are reserved words, identifiers, literals and punctuation symbols like that. So what are tokens? So what is the syntax of C? So what are the syntax rules? Syntax rules of C program. So what are the tokens? What are the tokens? Tokens are mainly 3-4 types, like reserved words, keywords, identifiers or variables, literals or constants and punctuation symbols. So what are C tokens? What are C tokens? Or tokens means reserved words or keywords. Reserved words are keywords and identifiers are variables, constants are literals, punctuation symbols are symbols. So rules that define C language specify which tokens are valid, also indicate the expected order of tokens. So reserved words and keywords means they are reserved for a specific uses and not used as a programming language or a programming language variables. Identifiers, what are identifiers? Means variables which are used in programs before defining before using any variable it should be defined it clearly. Literal constants, constants or literal constants means different types of constants are used, like numeric constants, string constants and character constant like that. Punctuations means there are many types of punctuation symbols are used, brackets, semicolon, less than, greater than, hash like that. So identifier means variables, names used for objects in C. So what are the rules for identifiers? Every variable should start with a character and maximum character size is 31 letters like that. So reserved words, what are reserved words? So every in C language there are many words or keywords or commands or statements which are treated as reserved words or keywords, means they won't use as a variable in a C program. So identifiers that already have meaning in C, example include main, printf, scanf, if, else, more as we cover C language. Next is valid or invalid identifiers. So valid or invalid identifiers. What are valid and invalid identifiers? Means valid identifiers are some a number like that. Invalid identifiers are these. So program execution. So what are the program execution? Means variable. What is a variable? Named memory location. Variables declared in global or local. Declaration sections. Syntax is type, data name. Syntax is how to use variables. Syntax is data type or type space name. Examples: int space sum, float space avg, char space like that. So variable types indicates how much memory to set aside for the variable, also determines how that space will be interpreted. Basic types of variables are character or char, int or integer, float or floating. Specify amount of space bytes to set aside, what can be stored in that space, what operations can be performed as those variables. So variable name. So examples: int x comma y comma z, int x semicolon, int y semicolon, int z semicolon. So variable initialization: int x is equals to 0, type space name is equals to some value. So data types. So data types. So what are the different types of data types are used, uh, and what are their sizes and what are their characters used. So standard data types. So what are the standard data types? Atomic types like void, char, int, float, double. So atomic data types are void, char, int, float, double. And derived data types are composed of other types. So literal constants or constants means sequence of characters token that correspond to values from the type. So 35 minus 35 are literals or constants, and they can be used to initialize variables. So void types. So what are the void types? Different types of different void types are type name is void. Possible values are none. Operations none. Useful as a placeholder. Integer types. So what are the different types of data types? What are the different types of data types used in C language? First one is integer data types. So type name integer, short int, long int. Possible values are whole numbers. So integer values are generally used to store whole numbers within a range. And operations are like arithmetic operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and others. So integer types are values, short int, long int. So integer types are values, short int, long int. So integer types are different types of integer types are used are available, like short int and long int. Int means it is generally occupied 4 bytes or 32 bits. Short int means to occupies 2 bytes and 16 bits. Long int means 4 bytes or 32 bits. So integer values are generally the range of integer values are minus 32,768 plus 32,767. So again integers types are two types, signed int and unsigned int. Unsigned means positive numbers only. So type is unsigned int, no negative values. Unsigned int possible values are 0 to 65536. So what are integer literal constants or integer constants? One or more digits. Optional leading sign means either plus or minus. Next frequently used data type is floating data type or real number real numbers or floating numbers or decimal number system. It is called as float or floating point data type or float. So what are the different types of floating point data types? Float, double, long double. Float, double, long double. So possible values are floating point numbers 5.0, minus 3.5, 4.01. Operations are arithmetic, subtraction, multiplication, and others. So floating point representation. How to use floating point representations? Float means 4 bytes, 32 bits. Double means 8 bytes. Generally floats occupies 4 bytes, double occupies 8 bytes, and long double occupies 10 bytes. And representation is so. Next, third frequently used data type is character data type or char. Third frequently used data type is called as character data type or char. Type name is char. Possible values keys that can be typed at the keyboard. Representation is generally character values, that is capital A to Z and small a to Z. So character literals. So what are the different types of character literals? Strings. What are strings? A string is nothing but some text placed in between double quotes. Text placed in between double quotes. No string type contained between double quotes. Examples are double quotes a string, double quotes some text like that, and every string ends with a slash and or a string terminator symbols. Constants. So literal constants are tokens representing values from type defined constants. So what are formatted input output statements? What are formatted input output statements? Means input comes from by using input devices, output sent to the files, and other objects treated like files, like keyboards use monitors like that, generally send and retrieve characters to or from files. So formatted inputs like printf and scanf. Formatted input commands are formatted functions in C language are printf and scanf. Printf is the standard output function and scanf is the standard input function. Syntax: printf within format string comma data list. Format string any legal string characters. Example printf within quotes some string. Format output. So successive printf commands cause output to be added to the previous output. So what are field specifications? So there are different types of data types are available, like integers, characters, float, double, and character, and strings like that. And every data type have a specific character specifier. For example, integers are used with %c and characters are used with %d. Float or decimal values are used with %f. So they are called as specifiers. Data type specifiers are some character specifiers like %c, %d, and %f. %c is used for characters, %d is used for integers, and %f is used for float. So next is formatted output. So what is formatted input and formatted output? Formatted output is called as printf, whereas formatted input command, formatted input function or formatted input command is called as scanf. So command is scanf. Syntax is scanf within quotes format string comma ampersand address list. Format string is a string with one or more field specifications. Characters read from keyboard stored in values or variables. Scanf within quotes %c, %d, %f. %c is used for characters and %d for integers and %f for float. And generally in printf we may use only variables only separated by commas, whereas in scanf we may use ampersand symbol. Ampersand variable 1 comma ampersand variable 2 comma ampersand variable 3 like that. Address operator. So what is address operator? Ampersand is called as an address operator, put before any variable like ampersand a, ampersand b, and ampersand c like that, while using scanf function in C language. So this is the example of using scanf. So what are formatted input and formatted output? Formatted input function is scanf, whereas formatted output function is called as printf. So what is the syntax of scanf? Scanf within quotes %d, %c, %f, comma ampersand A, comma ampersand B, comma ampersand C. So this is the introduction or basics of C language. Thank you.